to the Hamilton County Board of Commissioners meeting on March 16th, 2023. We start all of our meetings with silent prayer, followed by standing and doing the Pledge of Allegiance. As we do a silent prayer, just keep those less fortunate in your minds as we pause for a moment of silence. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I make a motion to approve the minutes of the previous session.
Second. Commissioner Reese.
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse.
Yes.
Commissioner Summer-Dumas.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We have some very important presentations today. I'm very excited when we get to honor young people that come from our county, our communities, and doing very positive things. And a lot of times I feel like it's not enough coverage about those who do things positive, not just from a media standpoint, but the community standpoint. And so today we wanted to take important time out to honor during this Women's Month 2 girls basketball state champions. I mean, most places are happy if they could get one, but to get 2 teams from our county to win the basketball state championship is unbelievable. Myself, I always said if I had these 2 coaches, maybe I could have gotten to the state championship. I got to the district, but it's very hard to get to the state championship and beat everyone in the state and say we are number 1. I want to thank the parents who are here that have to run, and you guys are like chauffeurs. You ripping and running, make sure they get to practice, make sure they get their homework done, make sure you get to the games, follow them, be there for them, pick them up when they're down, cheer them on when they're up. And I just want to give a big round of applause to all parents and grandparents and aunties, I would say aunties that's in the place. Give them a big round of applause. I also we're going to acknowledge them, but I do want to thank all the coaches that are at the high school level, but also starting at them with the AAU level and the Little League levels, all those just believing and developing young talent. I want to thank you, and I want to give a big round of applause to the coaches. In addition, I just want to say we've got some outstanding, unbelievable athletes that have come out of Hamilton County. We are the board. This is Women's Month. We're the first all-elected female board in Hamilton County history. Many of us have been athletes as well. I know Commissioner Dumas she played minor league softball. We also have Commissioner Dreehouse, who played volleyball and was very competitive. And of course, I told you I played basketball, right? So shout out to all the point guards out there. So we understand that sports is so important and what we do, and it also represents scholarships for our young people to be able to go to college, get their education. So we're very excited today to present these proclamations to both Princeton and Purcell, and we're going to go one by one and take our time and do it right, because I know it took a lot of time for y'all to get to the state championship to be able to win this championship. So first, we're going to start with Purcell Marion. Get my glasses here. There we go. I know we're going to read the proclamation, but I want to say something real quick about Purcell. They were here last year. They were state champions last year. They were in Division III. And then they said, we'll get them. Let's put them in Division II. And they went up to Division II and cleaned the clock on Division II. And they are, as Drake would say, we're going back-to-back champions. So I'm very excited to present this proclamation recognizing Purcell Marion High School girls basketball team for their victory in the OHSAA Division II State Championship. Whereas the players of Purcell Marion High School girls basketball team fought hard to maintain a successful 2022-2023 season to reach the Division II State Championship game with an overall record of 27-2, including a victory over Bryan 61-47 in the Division II state semifinals.
And whereas on March 11, 2023, the Lady Cavaliers achieved victory 57-48 over Cana Fulton Northwest in Ohio High School Athletic Association Division II Girls Basketball State Championship game to win the Division II title.
And whereas head coach Jamar Mosley and the entire coaching staff, team members, parents, faculty, staff, student body, and the Cavaliers community were integral in guiding the team to victory through their unwavering support.
And whereas Hamilton County is very proud of Purcell Marion High School girls basketball team for their strong finish and successful winning season, now therefore be it proclaimed that the Board of Commissioners hereby congratulates Purcell Marion High School girls basketball team for a victorious season and commends the team on winning the Division II state championship. Be it further proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners declares and proclaims that on Friday, March 17th, 2023, be known as Purcell Marion High School Girls Basketball Team State Champions Day in all of Hamilton County. Before we give you this proclamation, we have another proclamation for Coach. One second. All right. Proclamation celebrating Coach Jamar Mosley for leading the Purcell Marion High School girls basketball team to a state championship victory. Whereas Coach Jamar Mosley is a Cincinnati native and graduate of Northern Kentucky University. In 2017, he was named head coach of Purcell Marion and the Lady Cavaliers. Whereas in 2018, Coach Mosley led the Lady Cavs to their first championship in over 15 years. The Lady Cavs finished with 22 wins, the most in the school's history, also advancing to a regional championship game for the first time in the school's history. Whereas prior to becoming the girls' head coach, Mosley helped guide the Purcell Marion boys squad to an Ohio D3 district championship. The 2015 Cavaliers went on undefeated, winning the Greater Catholic League co-ed. He coached under Scott Kerr, who came to Purcell in 2015 and turned the program around. Whereas Coach Mosley was hired at Purcell after spending a season at Cincinnati Christian University and 3 years as an assistant coach at his alma mater, Hughes STEM High School. In 2014-2015, Mosley helped the Eagles to a third-place finish in the Kentucky Intercollegiate Athletic Conference, which had 3 teams participating in the postseason. He worked with the All-KIAC first team selection and the NCAA second team All-American. Whereas Coach Mosley has trained several athletes in the offseason, where he's the CEO and head trainer for second half athletes, he has trained a host of players who have gone on to play at the collegiate and the professional levels. Whereas Coach Mosley has won 4 conference championships, 5 district championships, 3 regional championships, and was selected as a 4-time Cincinnati Enquirer Coach of the Year and the first-time Greater Cincinnati Hall of Fame Coach of the Year. Whereas in March 11, Coach Mosley led the Purcell Marion High School girls team to victory during the Ohio Athletic Association Division II championship, winning back-to-back titles. Now therefore, As we celebrate the contributions of Coach Mosley, be it further proclaimed that the Board of County Commissions of Hamilton County does hereby proclaim Sunday, March 19th, 2023, Coach Jamar Mosley Day in all of Hamilton County. Coach, y'all got, what? Why y'all got the coach in the hallway? What? How do you treat the coach like that? Come on up, Coach. Say a word, and we'll then present the proclamations.
First off, I would just like to say thank you to the Board of the County Commissioners. Thank you, President Reese. I just want to say thank you to my Lady Cavs. None of this is possible without them. They're the ones that's putting in the work day in and day out. And I also want to give a special thanks to my staff and my wife, who serves as everything to our basketball team. Again, I just want to say thank you to everyone for making this possible. Thank you.
Thank you. And then you also have, you've got Miss Ohio. Coach, don't go anywhere. We're going to come take a picture. But Miss Ohio basketball, she's only a sophomore. So that means we're going to have a lot more of her. You want to say a word about her?
I can go on and on about her. Like you said, Miss Ohio does everything on the basketball court. But I'd like to talk more about just her character. I mean, I could just go on and on. Just a leader on and off the floor. I was just telling the two twins that's sitting right next to her, like I'm not in a group message with all the girls. I give the message to them, and they relay the message to everybody else. Just a phenomenal kid on and off the floor. Just honored to be able to coach such a great talent. Just looking forward to 2 more great years with her. So
2 more years. I asked her what position she plays. She said, I do it all.
she do.
Okay, we're going to come around, take a picture with you, and hand you these proclamations.
Sir, professional.
One more. One more over here.
All right. Okay. And now, I gotta find my paperwork. So, when you have so many champions,
Madam President, while you're looking, can I say a word?
yes, please.
So just congratulations to Purcell Marion. My brother used to teach over at Purcell Marion before any of your time. But we're so proud of what you've been able to accomplish, and especially to the coaches, to the parents, to the families, and to the players who stepped up and said, yes, wanted to become part of this experience, part of the team. It's really something to become state champs. So congratulations.
Thank you, Commissioner Dumas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm just happy that we are able to provide positive outlets for our young people. We have good young people, and those outlets, they excel. That makes it even better, but we need to be financially competent as it relates to supporting these young people so they have all the nice uniforms and equipment that they need to make it happen. So congratulations again.
Thank you, and Commissioner Dumas and Commissioner Driehaus. Commissioner Dumas is pushing forward. We have a grant program to help with young people, and we just opened our Office of Youth, so we've got a lot going, and I'm pushing for a amateur, indoor, outdoor, state-of-the-art facility that can house the AAU tournaments and all the tournaments here instead of spending the money out there, $93 billion. So it just goes to show that you could get them from the beginning all the way up. So we're working we'll be looking into that as a board, and we put that in our budget to look into it. So I just wanted the coaches and parents, maybe you don't have to drive all the way out of town. You could just drive up the street and have these tournaments. I know you'll love that. Okay, so now for the Princeton Vikings. Proclamation recognizing Princeton High School girls basketball team for their victory in the Ohio Athletic Association Division I State Championship. Whereas the players of Princeton High School basketball team fought hard to maintain a successful 2022-23 season to reach the Division I State Championship game with a 28-2 record this season, including a double-digit second half deficit to beat Midview 61-57 in the Division I State semifinals.
And whereas on March 11, 2023, the Vikings achieved victory 69-51 over Olmsted Falls Bulldogs in the Ohio High School Athletic Association Division I Girls Basketball State Championship game to win the Division I title.
And whereas head coach D. Davis and the entire coaching staff, team members, parents, faculty, student body, and the Princeton Vikings community were integral in guiding the team to victory through their unwavering support.
Whereas Hamilton County is very proud of Princeton High School girls basketball team for their strong finish and successful winning season. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Board of Commissioners hereby congratulate the Princeton High School girls basketball team for a victorious season and commends the team on winning the Division I State Championship. Be it further proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners declares and proclaims that Thursday, today, March 16th, 2023, be known as Princeton High School Girls Basketball Team State Championship Day in all of Hamilton County. And I want to also highlight that we're joined here by our superintendent. Stand on up. He's talking about he's going to retire. I might have to stop him. We can't have him. And I do want to thank you for all of your support of the basketball, and then also your support. As you know, we are working hard to get that gun range out of the area, and you were front and center on that issue, and we want to thank you for your help and support on that. Also, school board member Gina Ruffin-Moore is here. And then I want to acknowledge Judge Stacy DeGaffrey is here. She is a Princeton graduate and basketball standout. We played together on the AAU team, so it's amazing. Nobody believes us. We did play ball, but I'm telling you, she was something. She was something. We beat Wilma Rudolph's basketball team in Indianapolis. So I wanted to acknowledge her and highlight and then recognize in my office, I have Veda Stevens. I want to thank him for helping putting all this together, that he is a proud graduate of Princeton High School. So I wanted to say that. And Brandon Elliott is one of your coaches. He worked for me when I first was on city council as vice mayor, and to see him coaching and helping the youth. Thank you, Brandon, for being here. And I'm part of the Princeton family now. My niece, Tiara Stewart, she's gonna kill me because y'all know me now. I'm her auntie. So if you see me screaming and hollering at the Princeton stands, she's on the 7th grade team, and I believe y'all won the 7th grade championship. Y'all winning everything. Y'all winning everything. So I have a proclamation for this next individual who is your coach, and wanted to read and present this to her as well. Proclamation celebrating Coach D. Davis for leading the Princeton High School girls basketball team to the state championship victory. Whereas Coach D. Davis is a proud 2003 Princeton High School graduate and became the first ever female at the time to be named a McDonald's All-American. Davis went on to play for Vanderbilt University, where she had an incredibly successful career. Whereas Coach Davis was drafted to the WNBA, Houston Comets, and would go on to play in training camps in Seattle and San Antonio, in addition to playing internationally. Whereas Coach Davis achieved 2 Sweet 16 appearances, 2 SEC championships, 2 second-round NCAA tournament appearances, Kodak All-American honorable mention, career assist leader, and more. Whereas after retiring from basketball, Coach D began a career of coaching varsity basketball, where she developed players who have gone on to have thriving collegiate basketball careers. Whereas in her first season as head coach of the Princeton girls basketball program, Coach Davis oversaw 2 players who went on to play women's basketball at the collegiate level, and 4 players who received conference, district, and all-state honors. In her second season as head coach, the Lady Vikes went to finish with 23-4 overall record, becoming Greater Miami Conference champions and winning the district tournament. Whereas on March 11, Coach Davis led the Princeton High School girls basketball team to victory during the Ohio Athletics Division I state championship, making this their 3rd title win in history. And I was there shouting. I was shouting at them. Never mind me. I said I was shouting. Some of them calls was questionable, but the team never gave up. I want to thank y'all for that. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners do hereby celebrate the contributions of Coach D. Davis for her commitment to advancing youth sports and leading the Princeton High School girls basketball team to state championship victory. Be it further proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners of Hamilton County, Ohio, do hereby proclaim this Saturday, March the 18th, Coach D. Davis Day in all of Hamilton County. Coach, I love a coach that's a guard. I always say guards are the best coaches, But Coach, you won everything. You took it all off the table, from Princeton to college to the WNBA to now coaching. The floor is yours.
Wow. Firstly, I want to say thank you to the board. Thank you, President Reese, and everyone that was able to make this possible for us. I want to thank all of our parents and our supporters, our superintendent, Mr. Burton, our board member, Judge DeVraff Reed, just to have the greatness in the room of having the first Division I state champion in the room. We have our second division championship in the room, and then to have our team here to be a part of the 3rd state championship is just a humbling experience. I'm so happy to be a part of it. I'm happy to lead this program. I'm so fortunate to be able to work with these young ladies on a daily basis. They work tirelessly. They deal with me. You know, I'm I have a lot of high expectations and standards for them, and they come back every single day and give me their best effort. So that's all I can ask for, and I'm very appreciative of that. Our administration, our athletic administration, our supporters, I could go on and on. We have so many people that have made this a possibility for us, and we're just forever grateful. We don't take it lightly, and to be able to bring this back to Princeton and bring the community together, it's been a humbling experience. It's been overwhelming. This right here is just, I have chills right now, and I'm just so excited to have this honor, and I'm so proud of Purcell to be back-to-back state champions as well. So I'm just happy with the direction that girls basketball is going in the city, and we're going to continue to push it on.
Awesome. I'm gonna let my board like to say a word, and then we're gonna come take a photo.
Yeah, just briefly, congratulations to you, Superintendent, to the team, to the parents. We are very proud. Division I, it's special. It's special to win in Division I and to take it all the way to the state. So thank you for what you do. Thank you. We're glad to be part of your journey as you celebrate the victory. So thanks for being here. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Commissioner Dumas?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think, Coach D, you said it all, the greatness in this room. And I can feel the greatness in this room. These young people, We love our young people. This board has committed millions to young people. So keep your ear to the ground as the summer comes and you're looking for job opportunities. We listen to you, and you have a lot to give. You are our present and our future. So thank you, and thank you so much for taking the time to mentor these young ladies. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. I think the team you beat, weren't they like 1 or 2 in the state or something?
They were number one.
Number 1 in the state. Now we're number 1 in the state. Let's go take this. All right, y'all. One more time for the state champs. We're going to take a 3-minute recess to allow y'all to leave out because, I would love for y'all to stay, and we got some exciting things. But I know not quite as exciting as the basketball game. I also want to let my board know that the Harrison girls won the wrestling state championship, and they couldn't make it today, but I think we're having them, I think in 2 weeks they'll be back, and we'll be honoring them. I mean, girls, we're doing it. Who run the world? Girls, we're doing it. Good job. Thank you all so much.
Okay.
Okay, we'll call the meeting back to order out of recess. We do have another presentation. Find it here. Very excited that this week coming up is Severe Weather Awareness Week. And there's been a lot of severe weather, unfortunately. And Mr. Nick Crosley is here, and he keeps us in check. He stays ready, so he didn't have to get ready. So we have a proclamation here, and do we each have it in front of us? Okay. Commissioner Dumas, do you have it in front of you? Everybody has it except me right now. Sorry, I got a lot of paperwork. Proclaiming March 19th through the 25th as Severe Weather Awareness Week in Hamilton County, whereas Severe Weather Awareness Week creates an important opportunity for every resident, worker, and visitor of Hamilton County to become educated, informed, and able to prepare their homes and businesses for severe weather facing the area.
And whereas investing in the preparedness and education of ourselves, families, and businesses can reduce fatalities and economic devastation in our communities.
And whereas preparedness against severe weather is the responsibility of every resident in Hamilton County, and all residents are urged to make preparedness a priority and work together to ensure that individuals, families, and communities are prepared for severe weather.
Okay, whereas all residents of Hamilton County are encouraged to participate in personal preparedness and severe weather informational activities and are asked to register for the mass public notification system, alert Hamilton County, and to follow Hamilton County Emergency Management and Homeland Security Agency on social media. And whereas the Hamilton County Emergency Management and Homeland Security Agency and National Weather Service Wilmington are working to increase public activities and knowledge and preparation for severe weather by hosting Severe Weather Awareness Week. Now therefore be it proclaimed that Hamilton County Board of County Commissioners encourages all residents, businesses, and communities to develop their own severe weather preparedness plans. Be it further proclaimed that on behalf of all the residents and community members of Hamilton County, this board does hereby proclaim March 19th through the 25th, 2023 Severe Weather Awareness Week in all of Hamilton County. And we have Mr. Director Crosby, will you please
Sure.
say a word?
So I just want to remind people, so it's March 15th. We've already had tornado watches, severe weather thunderstorm watches, severe thunderstorm warnings, flash flooding. We've had high wind events that have toppled trees and knocked out power, and it's March 15th. So in my line of work, we always hope January gives us a break. That's getting more and more precarious. So obviously we're prepared 24/7, 365. We do everything from, again, working with residents, residential groups, businesses, and local governments. I view emergency preparedness as being, as it states in the proclamation, everybody's responsibility. We work with county government to work to ensure all of our communities are prepared, that we're prepared to help residents before and after a disaster. And so I just appreciate you declaring this Severe Weather Awareness Week. We're doing lots of things. We have a poster contest going on with schools. We're doing several presentations around the county. Again, just trying to get that word out. And I would be remiss if I didn't, as a closing comment, because I know we've been going here for a minute. Two things. One, I live 2 blocks from Purcell Marion. They're a great part of our community, so I'm very excited to have them in East Walnut Hills. But two, I do, as always, encourage residents to sign up for Alert Hamilton County. So we have lots of possible weather in Hamilton County. We will call you, text you, or email you when we have severe events. But also we use that if there is any kind of event that's not covered, or if anything man-made is going on. We use that same system to make sure that whatever area of the county is impacted, that we can send messages to those residents. So again, going to alerthc.org, create not only an Alert Hamilton County profile, but also a Smart 911 profile. So the county, as you know, invested. That's a great tool for our 911 center, as well as our emergency management agency, again, to get out the information should there be an emergency. Between Alert Hamilton County and our 196 outdoor warning sirens that we maintain around the county, I think we have a robust system. And then we just ask people that once you hear that there's an emergency, pay attention, tune in, and take action so that you can protect yourself. Thank you.
Thank you, and we want to thank you for all that you do. You keep us informed, and I think you're right. We don't pay attention, and then something happens, like, what is going on? So getting the, signing up these alerts are very important, and it's very real now. It's very real. Commissioner Dumas,
That's all right.
Lord, I gotta have y'all change seats, because I usually go to my right all the time first, but Vice President Driehaus, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Thank you, Nick, for being here and reminding us about preparedness. You have done a stellar job in getting our communities, our jurisdictions involved in making sure that they're prepared in case of emergency. So, yeah, it's getting rougher and rougher out there. So I really appreciate what you do, and thank you for your leadership, and thank your team as well.
Thank you.
Commissioner Dumas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's all been said. You're very consistent. I sleep well at night because I know you're going to alert us when anything happens. So I thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you.
So oh yes, I'm sorry.
I was slightly disappointed because Nick threw out all the different ways that the county works to make sure people are prepared. And typically when he's done with that, he always uses his tagline, if you're not informed, you're not trying. And he didn't say it this time. So Nick, you got to get that back in the.
You know, I always say that. I mean, it's truly, you know, we working with Commissioner Portune several years ago now. We made the decision to invest in a resident notification system, and I truly believe, you know, if you're not able to get an alert, you're not able to get a warning, you're just not trying in Hamilton County because, again, you as a board, us as an agency, we invest heavily in making sure that we can, again, it's not only about alerting the public about what's going on, but also how to protect themselves in the same vein. And so we practice that weekly to make sure we can deliver those messages appropriately so residents and businesses know what to do if a disaster or an emergency impacts their area. So thank you for reminding me of that.
Thank you. We're going to come around and get a photo with you. Okay, thank you very much. We have a Okay, I know we're running a few minutes behind on the public hearing, but we do have a very important update as we're staying on the safety topic. We have Director Andy Knapp, who is here. He's the director of our Hamilton County Communications Center. I don't know if Jeff wants to set it up. We did get some information. And when we get done with this, then we have to go to public comments. But we did get some information about our 911 center going offline for a number of minutes. And I don't know if, Jeff, do you want to set this up?
President, I'm just going to turn it right over to Andy. I think Andy has all the relevant information and is the expert in the field. So I'll just defer to Director Knapp.
Thank you, Director Knapp.
Good afternoon. And normally I'm here with some type of good news or looking for something to recognize our staff for. And there is some recognition that is deserved in this scenario. However, in our business, it is a very serious business. And then sometimes in our business, serious things happen that are out of our control that I need to bring your attention to, just to make you aware that we had an issue happen. On March the 11th, the Communication Center experienced an electrical surge that caused a brief disruption in service. Very quickly, we had Duke representatives on site that confirmed that we had a 3-second power outage and a subsequent surge that occurred. Although they couldn't pinpoint exactly where that surge happened at within the system, it had to be close to our building because one of our 24-year veteran supervisors, Karen Denning, was on duty. She saw the flash. They recognized that a dimming of lights that happened within the building, but we subsequently did not lose overall power. What did happen, however, as a result of the surge, is that our systems automatically went to a battery-powered backup as it is designed. However, a key component in that UPS, or the uninterruptible power source, was damaged, and it subsequently prohibited the system from transitioning off of a battery power. The battery depleted itself after about an hour, and we then lost most of our critical systems, with the exception of our radio system. The good news is we never lost contact with our responders in the field. We had constant communication with our police, our fire, and EMS providers. Our challenge was our phone system went down for that time frame. When our phone system powers down, we have automatic redundancies. And the nice thing is that in our business, the advancements of technology are such that most often we don't require any type of human intervention during these outages. We've progressed to the point where the systems watch things for us. We rely on those. We depend on those. And in this scenario, unfortunately, our 911 service was impacted when the backup power supplies, they didn't function as expected, and they would not allow the batteries to go back to normal power. Again, we were under power at the communication center, but this device thought that we were out of power. As a result, we fully expected that our backup systems were automatically routing calls to the city of Cincinnati, as they have done in other outages and other maintenance windows that we do. We regularly practice and we exercise these systems. In this scenario, we learned after the fact, and actually towards the end of the power outage incident, that in fact our calls were not being routed. And the nature of the partial outage meant that our workstations were down, but our phone lines were still active, and this resulted in the calls being stuck in a queue, if you will, within our system that we were not aware of. We've done a lot of cause and analysis. We're looking at the data that's coming into us, and we've determined that our 911 service was impacted for a total of 40 minutes, which we consider completely and totally unacceptable. In this scenario, again, this is an equipment malfunction that we were working to try to repair. We were working to try to get back online. And there's nothing that we as the employees of the center did wrong. It was strictly, again, an equipment malfunction. After the incident, we recognized that there were 27 unique phone numbers that had called 911, and that the calls went unanswered. It wasn't that they waited 40 minutes necessarily. Those calls were littered throughout the 40-minute window that we had. Where our staff kicked in and should certainly be recognized is obviously the ability to adapt and overcome the issues that they had going on. Within 9 minutes of the power being restored, they had a complete list of all the numbers that had attempted 911 traffic. And within 9 minutes of the power being restored, they had made contact or at least called every single one of those numbers back to find out if in fact they had an emergency or if they needed some types of services. As we reviewed the calls that went out, it did not appear that there were any serious calls of nature. There were one or two EMS transport type of incidents. And make no mistakes, all calls to 911 are incredibly important to us, and we take that business very seriously, as you know. And I've been here before in front of you requesting services or equipment or things because of the nature of our business. So none of these calls, I would never downplay them, but thankfully the resolution was positive on anyone that had called in for us. So the action items that we've taken away that I want to make you aware of, we're working to identify the root cause of the service impacts and to improve our plan to mitigate any future impacts such as this. We're working diligently with the engineers from our company Entrado, who is our phone vendor, along with our UPS system. UPS system, I'm happy to report, as of today, was repaired yesterday. There was a particular board that had malfunctioned and a relay that had malfunctioned. That has since been repaired. We routinely practice and test all of our backup scenarios, and this one exposed a flaw that we had in our system that will be corrected. We're taking a hard look at ourselves, but we're employing the services of a third-party independent contractor, Mission Critical Partners, which is a nationally renowned consulting firm who specializes in these digital solutions and the high-tech, high-speed world that we live in the 911 industry. We're going to use their role as an independent expert to help us ask the right questions and get the right answers to help mitigate this from happening again in the future. One last note, I would like to point out the rapid response and professionalism of our staff. You know, I've kept you up to date many times about the staffing concerns and staffing issues that we have at our center. And I'm pleased to report on Saturday morning, we were fully staffed that day with a full complement of call takers and dispatchers, as we should be. And so the staffing was never, ever an issue. In fact, the staff that were on duty that day are most of our senior staff. Karen Denning, a 24-year veteran, was a supervisor, and actually it was her quick action within about 3 to 4 minutes of the power surge that we experienced. She recognized anomalies within our call reporting systems that told us there was a problem, and she made notification to off-duty staff very quickly, which gave us a heads up on getting this situation resolved. Although 40 minutes is a long time, we were able to minimize that. It could have been much, much worse had we not known that this was going on. So my thanks to Karen as the on-duty supervisor. I also have senior dispatchers that were on duty. Tim Harris, a 30-year veteran with the organization, who was able to kick in and kind of give direction to people while Karen was supervising and making the technical investigations that she needed to do. Tim was able to kick in and help out with making sure that the plans that we have were enacted and executed to notify our public safety responders around the area, not just police and fire, but also our regional PSAP partners or other 911 centers around us, to let them know that we were experiencing this type of an outage. If I may, I'd just like to recognize the other staff over there. Even our union president, Kelly Pettit, was on duty that day and provided leadership to help keep things rolling. And for the younger folks that we have in the organization have never experienced an outage like this, and hopefully never will. But on duty that day were Tammy Buttry, Angie West, Ron Paquette, Cameron Marshall, Tiffany Williams, Stephanie Feitz, Sarah Weddington, Barry Schwartz, Jessica Finnan, again, Tim Harris, Tiffany Spoor, and the supervisor, Karen Denning. The overall shift commander for the day shift is Megan Alfani. And again, when she found out something was going on, she as well came in on duty. So I couldn't be any more proud of the staff and their reaction to this. We had the technical staff, myself, Sean Cruz, Scott Brown, all responded without question. And without these folks and our employment, we would have been in much worse shape. But I'm very proud of the response that they had on this incident, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have regarding this.
Thank you. We wanted to make sure they had an update so that the public knows what happened. My question that I will have is that the routine, well, I want to get one point of clarification. This board has been supportive financially of, all of the things that you have brought forward through the administration. So I just want to make sure people understand it's not a budgetary
That is correct.
situation. Am I correct?
That is correct. We deal in very expensive, very highly specialized, technically advanced equipment. And I would absolutely say without a doubt that you have been supportive of us 100%. And if there was something that I would have needed, something that would have prevented this, I certainly would have brought that to your attention. We have a regular schedule of looking at our equipment, the age of the equipment, the service life of the equipment, and making sure that all of our equipment is well within the expected industry norms for the standard operating lifespan, if you will, of our equipment. And we are in very good shape as far as that goes.
Thank you. And I know we're working on a new facility as well. One of the things I just want to ask about the third party that will be looking into the equipment and trying to see what happened. I guess we will be getting a report from the third party on the findings of what happened.
Absolutely. We'll have an after-action report from within the communication center, and then I will solicit that exact report from Mission Critical Partners to help us, make sure that we have identified all of the weak points within the system we have currently.
And I just want to say to you, in your leadership, you are from what I've seen, is a person that even rolls up your own sleeves, answer phones if we need it, just everything, because you always emphasize to us how important 911 is. And I do want to highlight that about your, the type of person that I've come to know. And I know if it's something you're always advocating, we got to get this done, we got to get that done. So I just wanted to highlight that as well in terms of your leadership. I'll open it up to Vice President Driehaus.
Thank you for the update. I really appreciate it. We've kind of been paying some attention to this as it's progressed, trying to get some information regarding what happened. So I am relieved that none of the calls that were missed were serious. I think we're all relieved at 27 calls that were identified, numbers that were unable to get through. So, I'm glad none of those were life and death situations. A question, though, regarding, so as you describe, there are backup systems in place in the case that the system goes down. And so the expectation was, or the presumption was, that the calls that were not coming in and not being answered by Hamilton County 911 were transferring to the city 911 system. That's the redundancy that is set up in the system. And so that did not happen from your description. So in the future, I'm getting to, if something like this were to happen again, what have you now built into your protocol that would make sure that that redundant system has started to pick up the calls?
And that is one aspect that we're not exactly sure why that failed, at what point it failed. As soon as we can determine the actual cause of what the failure was, we'll know better how to behave and react the next time. It can be as simple as making a test call from our center, to see if the 911 traffic goes through. If you can imagine at that time, it's a very chaotic environment in that it's controlled chaos because, again, we have contingency plans in place and we've lost individual systems here and there and normally are able to recover very quickly. But as far as what exactly we improve, I don't know that right now. But as soon as I have any kind of an update on that, I will let you know.
Okay, thank you. And my thanks also to your team. I mean, I can imagine how stressful the situation was, and it's you're responding in the way that will make sure that it doesn't happen again. And thankfully, we had some senior staff there, including yourself, to make sure that we were calling those folks back to make sure if there had been an emergency, we would have been able to respond as quickly as possible, given the time lag here from the missed calls. So thank you for the update. Really appreciate it.
Commissioner Dumas?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I've asked lots of questions and got answers. I feel confident in the answers that I received. I was just wondering, Director Knapp, if this has ever happened before, this sort of emergency.
Not exactly to this type where the service of the 911 system was impacted. Mm-hmm. We have had planned and unexpected outages. In all honesty, in my research, there's been maybe 3 in the last 3 to 4 years. And again, usually we react very quickly to where the redundant systems we have in place or the planning we've done in advance of some type of maintenance, if you will, is we react very quickly and have things redirected. In my knowledge, this is the first time that we've had an outage that went unrecognized. And that's really the key that I'm embarrassed about, and that I can assure you that we're going to look at and make sure that this type of an incident doesn't happen again.
So the city, in collaboration with you, is working together to see where their part was that they missed and what we missed. And so I feel very confident in what you do and that it'll get handled. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Ludo.
Just to reemphasize, I think something that Andy hit on was to a point or a question that Commissioner Driehaus had indicated. And Andy and I have talked about this at length. And again, first and foremost, just want to thank Andy, thank the staff that were out there. We've got a great 911 team. They do great work. On this particular situation, to address the question Commissioner Driehaus asked about, if this were to happen again tomorrow, I think one thing that we can say assuredly, without a doubt, is that if we receive, and again, this was kind of the perfect storm of an event that happened that impacted not only our system, but impacted its redundancies as well, as was indicated earlier. Normally, if if our system is out, things roll to the city and vice versa. So we have that redundancy set up, which, not to go down this rabbit hole, but is one of those reasons that we've always talked about the need to maintain two major PSAP operations in this community. So we have that redundancy. It's a separate issue. But that aside, if the same type of thing were to happen tomorrow, or we had this type of a power outage or an anomaly power outage, we know, and I know from talking to Andy, that immediately that whereas normally we get reliant on technology, et cetera, at that point, the operators, the leadership of the comm center would step in at that point to ask the question immediately, are those redundancies occurring? Are those rollovers happening? So that's something that right out of the gate, we know that if the same thing that happened tomorrow, there's already been learnings and changes that would occur to make sure that the impact wasn't the same. Andy, that
is correct. It can be as simple as testing the 911 system ourselves. Again, make the phone call. Crazy as it sounds, when we make a 911 call from inside of our building, it's actually leaving the building, going all the way out through the public switch telephone network, all the way back into our center. And so that is one of the things that we certainly will do from this point forward, is to test to make sure that and while that may seem to be a simple thing, and you wonder, well, why did not happen in the past when we've had these outages, it's automatically routed. We had made contact with the city of Cincinnati, and we have a phenomenal relationship. Mr. Bill Vidra is the director there. He and I, in fact, on my way into work that morning, I'd already had communication with him to let him know this was coming. And we had traffic coming into us from the city that led us to believe that our systems were functioning properly. So, but again, in hindsight, a simple test phone call is what could have helped prevent that 40-minute outage.
I want to have one other question. So if I'm a person out in the community and I'm calling 911 and no one's picking up, I'm not suggesting that this is going to happen again, but what would a person do in that situation?
In almost every circumstance, and what is predominantly presents to people calling 911 are small periods where we're very busy because of a singular incident. So if you take an auto accident on the interstate, for example, in years past, you had to wait till you found a payphone and somebody make a phone call. And now you have 50, 60 people that are driving by this auto accident repeatedly making the phone calls. And that's really, the cell phone is the biggest impact that we've had to the 911 industry in my lifetime. And it's the good news, bad news thing. We always recommend people stay on the line, let the phone continue to ring. Every time you hang up, that presents to us as an abandoned phone call. That abandoned phone call, then someone has to go back and make another call. And the challenge is when people hang up, when they hang up and then call back and then hang up and then call back, that creates multiple calls then that a dispatcher is going to have to take a look at and try to make calls back. So the predominant thing that we see are these spikes in our traffic coming in, predominantly, again, from an auto accident per se, and stay on the line. If you stay on the line, that's the absolute best thing you can do. Had we had an extended outage, we have alternate phone numbers that we would publish. When we have the ability through the federal government and the FCC, and you're working with Mr. Crosley at the EMA, we have access to what's called the wireless emergency alerting system, which is very similar to the Amber Alert type of alerts that you get on your phone. Had we had an actual outage that was an extended period of time, we would do that type of alert to provide an alternate number, so that way folks would know if you have an emergency, call a separate number or a different number for the certain defined time period.
Thank you.
I had a question. How long would the service have to be out before an Amber type alert comes in, or why did we not use that on Sunday?
In this scenario, we did not recognize the outage because of the nature of the power surge. Some of our equipment was still powered and some was not. So as a result of that, there was equipment that was still powered, that was still operating, that we were on the assumption was down, that would have engaged the redundancy. So I would say if we know that we have an outage that is not easily repairable, that's going to be something any more than 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I think we would be starting that process of notifying the public that we have a catastrophic problem. And the challenge is, as you're aware, once you ring that bell, you can't unring it. And so we are always try to minimize the amount of confusion we have and not, activate that type of an alarm until it's necessary. But make no mistake, I'm not afraid to ring that bell. I think that if there was an outage that was significant enough, any more than 10 to 15 minutes, I think we would most likely, publish some type of new number.
Madam Chair, if I could ask the question, you were talking about an option if you can't get through to 911. Would an option also be, say, if there was an accident in Blue Ash and you keep calling 911, that you call the local jurisdiction and let them know, even though you say don't hang up and call again tonight, but I would think if you called the local jurisdiction, then they have radios and they can radio to other jurisdictions. I would think that might be an option also.
And again, depending on the circumstances, some of the jurisdictions have on-duty 24-hour staff. It will really depend on the day, and the week, and the hour of the day or the week. It's those numbers. We have gotten so advanced in our technology, and again, having been in the 911 industry since 1988, the instances of this type of situation happening are very few and far between, thankfully. But always having local jurisdictional numbers is not a bad thing to do. The challenge is if they have the staff on duty to answer the calls, because they, quite frankly, rely on us to answer their calls in many cases, and obviously we're happy to do that.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. We wanted you to come to the meeting. We wanted to be open and transparent to the public. I think we all agree, it's not what we want. And it's, as you've indicated, a malfunction. We look forward to you coming back with a third-party report on what that is, as well as you said you've got some different plans. If this were to happen again, you have a plan of how people would treat this, and that there will be some testing going on, I guess, secret shopper type of testing. So we want to thank you for coming today and updating the public, updating the board, and we look forward to hearing back from you on what you believe are the remedies going forward. So thank you very much. We really appreciate it, and thank you to your staff.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Okay, we have a public hearing. I think it's about the bees. Is it about the bees again? I think, is it something else? I can't remember. But we're supposed to have a public hearing. We are running a little bit behind. The vacation of Willow Road. Is that what we're doing? Oh, yes, Mr. Beck is here.
Good afternoon, Madam Commissioners. This is, Christy, if you could put up that image. Yeah, thank you. As you recall, we did have a vacation of Willow Road last year. That is a section to the east of this. These two properties are at the border of the previous vacation, and they run along Cedar Drive. Both of these are on a small little dead-end section of road and have driveways going off. Part of my item number one will be the report I give to you, but the engineer's office has reached out to the utilities and the parties involved and have not received any issues. The utility companies were notified, conditions were raised by the utility companies, and they've been forwarded and addressed by the petitioners. And the engineer's office finds that the plat and legal descriptions are acceptable, and we recommend the vacation. This is a forum for the public to speak, either for or against this. So I will, if you have people that are here to speak on it.
Yes, I do. So CJ Carr, is that the right? Okay. Welcome, Mr. Carr. You have the floor for 2 minutes.
Good afternoon. First, I'd like to thank you for taking time to hear this afternoon. I would just like to say that I'm in favor of this vacation to move forward. And on behalf of the petitioners that are petitioning for this and the neighbors on my street, we ask for the support of the commissioners also to approve this vacation. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, this handwriting, it's like a doctor's handwriting. Is it Nick? Oh, no, Nick, you for something else. You're for the restaurants. We're in a public hearing. I'll get back. We're in a public hearing for the vacationers right away. As soon as we come out of that, then Nick, you'll be up with the restaurants. Anybody else? I don't think I have anybody else on this. Anyone else on this subject matter? I want to question, is this the bees?
This is adjacent to the B parcel. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I saw
You're
y'all
correct.
come in, had the nice music, you had the music going and all that.
Yeah.
So everybody we had some people speak differently last time.
Correct.
They've worked it out.
That is correct.
Okay, what's the next step?
You will close the hearing. When you get to the regular agenda item, I will present, you will receive for the record my report, and then you decide, the commissioners decide whether you proceed with the vacation or not.
What item is it?
Item number 1.
Okay, I'll make a motion to close the
I have a
hearing.
question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm going too fast. Everybody said they was on the same page. I said, okay.
Well,
Sorry,
that's
Vice President
my
Trios.
question. So last time we heard about a vacation in this area, there was some opposition to it. So is there any opposition to this?
I have
or-
not heard of any opposition to this one at all. I believe the people that were opposed previously are the petitioners for this one. This will prevent any future street going through their property from the portion that was vacated previously.
Okay. So we're all good.
That's my understanding, yes.
I think, Mr. Carr, you had some concerns, but now you're good. Yeah, so that's what I thought.
what I-
Commissioner Dumas?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I was just wondering what the delay was, and I understand what you were saying, had to resolve some issues, and I'm glad they were able to be
Right.
resolved.
Thank you. We love it when y'all resolve it yourselves. Make us look great. Okay, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second?
Commissioner Reese?
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse?
Yes?
Commissioner Summer Dumas?
Yes.
If the commission wouldn't mind, I know that they're here for that subject matter. Can I advance item number 1, since we're all in agreement? You don't mind? I'd like to advance item number 1. Mr. Engineer?
Item number 1 is just the report from the county engineer to the board to receive for record that the county engineer finds the survey plat and legal descriptions to be acceptable and recommends this vacation.
I'll recommend, I'm sorry, any questions? Anybody? Okay. I'd like to recommend approving item number 1.
Second?
Commissioner Reese?
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse?
Yes.
Commissioner Summer Dumas?
Yes.
All right.
Thank
Y'all
you.
can come on back down here, though. You don't wait for the bees. You can come on down. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, now we will go to public comment. And Mr. Tolbert, I'll work on his handwriting. Mr. Tolbert, come on up. You got the floor for 2 minutes.
This is going to be real quick. After being up here, the first thing I got to do this as a ex-baller. What you just did, old ballers, we never realized women. We never did. Even in the NBA, they never do. And what you did, put light on these young women that's playing ball, please continue to do that. Because it's guys like us, we didn't recognize the women. We didn't. And we wouldn't even let them play with us. And now I'm looking at the women, how good they are. I'm talking about they can ball. Seriously ball. I am so glad you did that because you woke me up. Because I had a whole nother plan. That plan went out the window. After listening to this, listen to y'all, I feel guilty because I'm part of the problem. I'm part of the problem. We never recognized women. We never did. We didn't think they was good. Now some of them better than the NBA. NBA didn't get soft and they didn't get greater. And so I just want to say thank you. And the proposal that we're going to be putting on there is coming. It's just that I had a lot of complication of being sick. So that's the reason why it's been delayed. So, but I had a whole nother plan. I was going to, but y'all just destroyed all that. But thanks for doing what you did. And I'm going to even start watching the games a little bit more with women. Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you and wish you good health. Take care of your health.
Thank you, and I'd just like to comment, I remember Nick playing over at Hughes, and he was a baller for sure.
The baller,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you. Thank you, Nick.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so
See ya.
much. Matt Horsch. Talk about the home ARP.
Hello again, Commissioners. My name is Matt Horsch. I'm the Director of Continuous Quality Improvement at Shelter House and a member of the Continuum of Care for those experiencing homelessness board in Cincinnati. Last week, I was here in front of you to talk about the incredible opportunity that the Home ARP presents to all of us in the community of individuals serving those who are experiencing homelessness. There were a lot of different presentations and groups in front of me, but I saw a thread that sort of was interesting to me. There's a lot of play callers in this room, a lot of women, girls in basketball. I was the team manager for 7 years for my high school and college basketball teams. And we went to the State House in Maryland for that, and that is something that I reminisce on because that was such a great moment when we had success. All of us in the homelessness community have to call plays and work together to make sure that the play we call is the best one for individuals that are experiencing homelessness. And last week I came in front of you to tell you about some of the uniqueness of some of the opportunities that are provided for us, supportive services, operating assistance, and capacity building. I sent you all an email, and I just want to thank each of you for your time and consideration, your questions, asking Assistant Director John after me some questions. It really shows me that you listen and pay attention and care about the folks that we work with. I know that I just want to also recognize Patricia Santa Cruz, who helped develop the county's plan. And I have to give a hat tip. I know she's watching, Lachey Roach, who's in your community development department. And she's just fantastic and was a great find for you all. So thank you all very, very, very much.
Thank you. Thank you for those suggestions. We really appreciated it. Our last public comment, William Jackson.
Hello, Madam Commissioners. Again, thanks for letting have the opportunity to have the microphone. We have a problem in this pandemic where people they're in rooms that you're not in. They keep their microphones muted, and people are laughing. They said if he's in the room, he should have to unmute that and speak for himself. It's called espionage. I think many people have been charged with that in our country, going back to families that are still doing it through technology. And but I've only have time to speak here, and I've placed a proposal on the table, as I told Madam Dumas I was going to do, and I'm serious about all of it. It may be a joke to you, but yeah, if you look at those statistics of what has actually been pulled in by the people that call themselves billionaires and the ballers and the whatever they call themselves, I have an alternative solution, as Madonna did when she started a league of her own, and the Reds are already taking that by the horn and saying they're going to have women's baseball, I think. This is going to be a whole new league. And guess what? It's not going to be the people that did the drafts of Major League Baseball. This is going to be a league of our own. And there's two teams, but there's another team I've already thought of. And it's professional. Yes, we're not going to play down at Mill Creek where the coach that he was a legendary coach from Withrow High School, and he's in the Roses Hall of Fame. We don't know if he's alive or dead, but I think we folded a little bit too soon, and I don't think there's a lot being told truthfully about what the surge really is. And Joey Votto says he has a horse called Nibbles. I don't think Joey Votto ever nibbles on anything. But yeah, who wants to play on a team where a guy calls his horse Nibbles, but he makes $25 million a year, and he's got rappers that want to keep people on a leash, and we want to have a league of our own, and it's being established today, and it's not going to be a private company. We're going to have our own draft, and I'm going to submit more next week, and I'm going to keep sending you the proposals, how it's going to happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we'll move to our regular agenda. And Mr., if you don't mind, can we do our comments at the end? I'm sorry. I just asked that. Regular agenda, Mr. Ludo, items 2 and 3.
Thank you, Madam President. Items 2 and 3 are two items related to our health and hospitalization or indigent care levy, related to some contracts associated with that work plan, and Assistant Administrator Webb is here to walk you through both of those.
Good afternoon. Yes, we have 2 contracts up for the remainder of the levy period. That levy was just renewed last November. The first is for charitable pharmacy. We RFP'd both of these. This is with St. Vincent de Paul's Charitable Pharmacy. You'll recall the county has contracted with them for charitable pharmaceutical services through the levy for the last 2 levy cycles. This will be the 3rd cycle. It is increased per the tax levy committee recommendation and the levy plan approved by the commissioners from $150,000 a year to $200,000 a year. It should be noted that that pharmacy has managed to leverage every dollar of levy spending to receive $59 in free medications to the community in Hamilton County. We are joined by Rusty Currington, who's the Director of Pharmacy for St. Vincent de Paul as well, in case there are any questions.
And then are you also talking about item number 3?
Yes.
Both of them, then we can open.
And then item number 3 is similar. It's a levy contract for medical services, homeless medical services, also an RFP process on that. That is again Strategies to End Homelessness. It's a continuation of their prior levy contract as well. And that was increased from $1.5 million in prior levy cycle to $2 million. Again, per the levy plan, tax levy committee recommendation and commissioner approval. And Kevin Finn, the president of CEO for Strategies to End Homelessness, is here as well in case there are any questions regarding that contract.
Okay, thank you. I think we got a lot of information on item number 3. There was a special presentation at our staff meeting. One of the things I do want to say on the St. Vincent de Paul, I am supportive of it. However, I had asked during the hearings and the budgetary hearings, very interested in the 513 relief having some type of presence or partnership. And what I got back was that they aren't able to do that. But then I Google, there's mobile pharmacies everywhere, all over the country is what I've seen. So I'm just trying to figure out, I'd like to see some partnerships. We talked about that during the levy piece. And at that time, it was said, yes, we would sit down and try to work together. I don't know if that has happened, and I just want to make sure, a lot of times we pass these levies, and then once the levies are passed, people don't really know who got the money and what really happened. And I was guilty of it till I got down here. I passed the levies, it's the right thing to do, but I never got down to who is getting this money, and did it ever hit the streets like it was supposed to? So I had said I wanted to expand out to be able to incorporate some presence with the bus, because a lot of seniors and then a lot of these Walgreens and everything, they're closing. In fact, in Bond Hill, they don't even give you a warning. They're closing, I believe, March 23rd. Where are they going to go? Now they got to get to Norwood. So there's a lot of places closing around the country. So this mobile 513 relief that we have is going into bringing convenience to a lot of people. So I know that we might not be able to do all medicines and stuff, but there's something we can do. And I'd like to see that. And I've said it. I haven't had a chance to meet with St. Vincent. You all do great work, but I just can't, I don't know if the information that got back to me is incorrect, but that's something that I would like to see explored.
I know I've had discussions with St. Vincent de Paul as well as our 513 relief team of trying to figure out options that are available. There were some issues with state law regarding actual prescriptions, but possibly using the service as a platform to enroll individuals in the charitable pharmacy program and get some of that paperwork handled within the mobile bus instead of having to come to one of their 2 sites. I don't know the status of that, though, to be able to comment specifically as the bus was getting started.
Okay, I know that because they were just in Roe Hill and they said St. Vincent de Paul was there, so I don't know how they were there. I don't know if they were there just with some brochures or what. But just trying to look at that, I'd love to see the state law, because there's some mobile units in this state that's moving around. So just wanted to look at that. We don't have to answer it today because we got a long agenda, but I wanted to put that out there because I want to have more access. People now have to get downtown. We can't have everything downtown. We got 49 municipalities. I want to get out to the communities. If I'm in Cleves, I can't get downtown. That's why we taking the bus to Cleves. If I'm in Harrison, Ohio, I can't get downtown. So are we just leaving those folks behind? So that's why we wanted to use our mobile unit to somehow connect with them. So I just wanted to put that out there because we want to do a lot with it. We've got a discount card we're going to be rolling out. It's people out here are suffering, and we can't have it where everybody has to come downtown. We can't put everything, and I'm from Cincinnati. We just can't put everything downtown. We got to have something out in these other areas that people can have access. So that was all that I wanted to say about that. The strategies is hit homelessness. I think I've said it enough. I hope we'll see some people with some T-shirts down here walking around helping the homeless people as a result of this money that will allow us hopefully to be a lot more flexible. As Mr. Flynn has indicated, there was a need for flexibility, so I appreciate that. Vice President Driehaus.
Thank you. We talked about these a while back when we were in the middle of the levy conversation, so I'm very supportive of both of these agencies, the work that they do to the benefit of the community, and so I'm happy to be supportive of these two items.
Commissioner Dumas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On item 2, the impact, I remember that St. Vincent brought some data here, and it was just unbelievable, the impact of what their pharmacy is doing. So they are doing fantastic work. I would be concerned about the liability as it relates to pharmacy on our 513 bus. I like what you were saying about possibly have people sign up, but that could be a big liability for the county depending on who's on there and what medicines are on the bus. But as it relates to item 3, strategies to end homelessness, Jeff, I would ask, as you did in your weekly summary with me, if you could list the partners on there, because as you look at the agenda, it just looks like strategies is getting all the money, even though they have lots of partners. If you could list it like you did on my summary, that would be great.
Certainly, and so as you said, there are several shelters that benefit from this. Lisa, do you want to list do you have the entire list with you?
Big test for me, Kevin. What are there, 7 partners? Yep. Both shelter house facilities for men and women.
The Lighthouse Shakely.
Yeah, can you come
Yeah,
up?
come on.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
The Hatton Center for women, the Barron Center for men, both operated by Shelter House, the Shakely Center for Youth, operated by Lighthouse Youth Services, the City Gospel Mission, and who am I missing? The Parkway Center, operated by Talbert House.
Awesome. Okay, thank you. But I support both of them.
Okay. All right. So I'll make a motion to adopt item number 2 and 3.
Second.
Commissioner Reese?
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse? Yes. Commissioner Summer Dumas?
Yes.
Thank you all very much. Appreciate it. Next, we've got MSD items 4 and 5.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Jack Rennekamp. I'm the Division Manager for the Office of the Director and formerly the MSD's Legislation Manager and Legislation Supervisor. And since I'll be retiring at the end of this month, I'm turning.
Are you sure about that?
I'm absolutely sure.
We love seeing you, but this is the longest retirement I've ever seen in my life. But I love seeing you, though. I'm not rushing you out.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm absolutely sure.
Okay, we'll get the cake ready.
And with me today is my replacement as Legislation Supervisor, Lauren DeCarissa, as well as our 2 principal engineers at MSD, Matt Spadari and Tony Yee. Today we have 2 items on your agenda.
So there are 3 people replacing 1 person?
No, there are engineers who provide information to you if you have questions of a technical nature for our projects. Great. 1 person replacing me.
Thank you.
We have two items on your agenda today. Item number 4 is Muddy Creek FEMA property acquisition and floodplain reconfiguration. This project and its current request is to approve the 3rd phase of demolition of the Muddy Creek FEMA property acquisition and floodplain reconfiguration project. The purpose of this project is to voluntarily acquire and demolish up to 31 residential properties that are in a flood-prone area along Muddy Creek Road, which is within both the city of Cincinnati and Green Township. Homes in this area have experienced repeated flooding and sewer backup events over the last few decades. The grant addresses chronic environmental hazards that are beyond the capacity of MSD's sewer system to address. As background, in January 2021, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, awarded a hazard mitigation grant to the Ohio Emergency Management Agency, OEMA, as recipient and MSD as subrecipient. As of today, under this grant and the activities that we've taken, and we've been to your board in previous occasions since 2021, MSD has purchased a total of 20 of the 31 homes, or about 64.5%. All of these acquisitions are voluntary. This is not anything similar to what you see from MSD from time to time with an easement appropriation. 4 additional homes are under contract. 1 offer is pending. 6 have declined to sell, which is about 19%. And 13 of the 20 purchased homes, about 65%, have been already demolished through phases 1 and 2. This legislation, as I indicated, will authorize the demolition of the remaining homes that have been or anticipated to be acquired through this project. The total budget of the grant is $5.5 million. MSD's local share is $1.5 million, or about 27.7%. The federal government is providing $3.4 million, or about 61.97%, and the state's share of the grant is $571,485.50, or about 10.33%. Construction is funded entirely through the federal grant funds. No MSD money is being utilized in this regard for the construction of this phase. Therefore, MSD is not requesting any additional funds at this time, but we're asking you to ratify those funds that have already been appropriated and provided to MSD through the FEMA grant. The completion of this project will provide a natural floodplain to better accommodate rain events and permanently remove residential structures from a flood-prone area, mitigating the risk of damage and reducing MSD's liability under the sewer backup program. If you will, I'll continue on with item 5.
Please continue.
Okay. Item 5 is a request for the board to take various actions to fund and construct a Rapid Run Road sewer lateral assessment for House 5947 Rapid Run Road. The current request is to approve these assessment actions, which for a single-family parcel, which is currently served by a household sewage treatment system. The owner of the benefited property initiated this request to your board through the submittal of a petition, statement, and waiver, and the sewer that, well, this property would connect to is accessible to the property and will provide public sewer service. Therefore, Hamilton County Public Health is requiring a connection to this existing public sewer and abandonment of the HSTS, or home sewage treatment system, that is currently serving 5947 Rapid Run Road. I might also say this is in a very populated area of Rapid Run. I'm a West Side resident, very familiar with this portion of this road, and this is the only property within a large area that has multiple subdivisions already connected to the MSD sewer system. And the home was built in 1865, so it's a very old property as well. The MSD proposes to construct 65 linear feet of 6-inch diameter sewer lateral and other appurtenances. Total estimated cost. The estimated cost for this project is $64,700. Based upon MSD rules and regulations, the net tentative assessment that the property owner would pay for the public improvement, again, just for the public, not for any private side work to connect to the system MSD installs, is $12,000, or 19% of the estimated total project cost. Assessment credits for the single-family property are estimated to be $52,700, or about 81% of the total estimated project cost. The property is not eligible for one of the available credits under MSD's rules and regulations, or an HSTS credit. The Hamilton County Board of Health makes that determination. Upon completion, this property will then be connected to MSD's public sewer system, and there will be one additional ratepayer that is added to our rolls. Happy to answer any questions. Again, the engineering staff is with us to assist if you have any technical concerns.
Thank you for the presentation. Any questions, Vice President Driehaus?
We have a couple of questions. On item number 4, again, I just want to say that I celebrate that we're getting a grant for other levels of government to pay for the majority of this project. That's huge, and I think moving in the right direction for trying to leverage our resources with other resources that are available. So applaud MSD for doing that. So you mentioned that not all the properties were willing to sell. So what happens to the other properties that have chronic backup issues? What is the recourse there?
I'm going to bring up Lauren DiGarisa, who is actually also the project manager for this particular.
Okay.
So they would still be covered under the SBU program. Many of them are in the prevention program. And so we would continue to provide support that we have in the past for those devices.
Okay. Surprised that with the chronic nature of the backups in these homes that they weren't excited to sell those homes to MSD, but that is what it is, I suppose. Yeah, I drive by this area all the time, and you can see the properties coming down. But
yes.
All right. The other one, just a quick question on Rapid Run. It's such a curious one. Where is this on Rapid Run?
It is approximately, and I think your fact sheets also have a map attached to them if you have it in front of you. It is before you get to the intersection of Rapid Run and Ebenezer Road, but it is just adjacent to Stonebridge and Rapid Run.
So it's pretty far out there.
Yeah, it's isolated as a property until recently meaning within the last 10 to 15 years. The sewer system didn't extend all the way up Rapid Run.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I thought when you said it was densely populated, I thought it was closer to Rapid Run Park or down into the Price Hill area. No, it doesn't sound like it. It's out in Green Township.
Green Township, yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Dumas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item 4, I was wondering about, since all of them did not agree to sell their home, the 64% will get the benefit of the floodplain reconfiguration. I would imagine the ones that didn't sell will also get some benefit. It would be good to see a map of, like, it's 2 houses here, one is selling, the other one is not selling. So how do you do a floodplain reconfiguration when you got to go around the other houses that are there that didn't sell? I mean, how effective is that?
That is part 2 of the issue that needs to be addressed through this project, of how the floodplain configuration will be addressed once all of this is washed out. No pun intended, but as in the situation of remaining homes, remaining property owners, who will, as Ms. DiGarisa indicated, will still support, but there still needs to be that effort put into the planning of what this would look like. Matt, do you have any answers right now?
I mean, how do you advertise?
We need to go through a planning exercise.
Is somebody going? Okay.
Hello, good afternoon. I think that a HEC-RAS analysis would have to be done and submitted to the Stormwater Agency of Hamilton County to analyze the floodplain after this work is completed.
So how do you advertise for bids for a floodplain reconfiguration if you're not sure how it's going to be? She's looking at her, he's looking at him. I just wonder.
This is advertising for bids for the demolition. So and we will be grading it You know, obviously we don't want to leave holes below grade. But the comprehensive grading plan and floodplain will take place next. And you're exactly right. I mean, it's difficult to design it at this point in time when we don't know exactly which homes and which spaces we're going to have. So that is, as Jack said, going to be phase 2.
Okay, so is it more accurate to say a bid for acquisition and not include the floodplain reconfiguration in the bid?
It's for demolition, so.
Yeah, I know, but the floodplain reconfiguration.
That's the MSD project name, which is, right, you're right, a little misleading as to what is entailed in this current phase.
Yeah, okay, thanks. Jeff, you have no comments? He said, what did you say?
No comments at this time.
Okay.
President, and Madam Vice.
I'm saying when you say misleading, I say, okay, but you have people that are going to bid on this, and maybe they're good at demolition, but not the other component of it. I know it's gonna need floodplain reconfiguration, but I just wondered why we had it both in there, that's all. You have no, okay.
Are you good to move forward? Or?
Yeah, I mean, it needs to be done. I'm surprised it's just coming, yeah, so I'll go with it.
Okay. All right, I'll make a motion to adopt items 4 and 5.
Second?
Commissioner Reese?
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse?
Yes.
Commissioner Summer Dumas?
Yes.
Thank you so much. Really
Thank you.
appreciate it. Now we'll go to the consent agenda. We've got some items, and Jeff, you want to walk us through those items that, especially those that has financial implications?
Yeah, Madam President, be happy to. So on your consent agenda, items 6 through 8 are financial transaction reports from the Hamilton County Auditor's Office for December through February. Number 9 is the administrator's actions for the second portion of 2022. Item number 10 are the bids authorized or executed by the purchasing director for the month of February 2023. That's the amount of $1.4 million. Item number 11 is a $1,014.21. It's a then and now resolution related to copier maintenance in the Planning and Development Office. We have the purchase of a Ford Explorer in the Sheriff's Office for $34,000. We have several items related to Job and Family Services. Item number 13 is the actions of the director for January, but it primarily relates to an agreement with the Clerk of Courts related to a notification system related to foster caregivers. Then we get into some different service-related contracts. Item 14 is an agreement with Children Have Options in Caring Environments for $400,000 for independent living services. Item 15 is an agreement with New Path for $900,000 for residential treatment. Item number 16 is an agreement with Isaiah's Place for $47,000 for foster care services. Item number 17 is an agreement with Bunker Hill Haven for Boys for $200,000 for group home services. Item number 18 is an agreement with Open Arms Adoption for $22,000 for foster care services. Item 19, an agreement with Health Wealth Labs LLC, doing business as lab tests, any lab tests now, for $200,000 for substance abuse screenings. Item number 20 is an agreement with Rite of Passage ATCS for residential treatment services for $100,000. Then we get out of the JFS items. Item number 21 is an agreement between the county and the Village of Lincoln Heights for fire hydrant repair services. We have the resolution that the board has discussed previously related to the adoption of the annual action plan under the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974. This relates to the previous conversation that we've had on the home ARP grant. We have item number 23, which is an agreement with Colerain Township. The board received a presentation back in December related to the Community and Economic Development Assistance Program. One of the 4 grants that was agreed upon in that program is an agreement with Colerain Township for $300,000 for improvements in the Groesbeck area. That is the item before you today. We also have the treasurer's monthly investment report. We have a travel item with the coroner requesting one employee to Lexington, Massachusetts. I also have one by leave item, but I'll take that at your pleasure, Madam President. So those are the consent agenda items.
Oh, thank you. And can you go ahead with the by leave item?
Happy to.
I apologize. So.
No problem. Happy to. So by leave item number one, the only by leave item on your agenda is a resolution authorizing the execution of an agreement between the Board of County Commissioners and BASF Corporation and Cognis Corporation, making findings, certain findings with respect to the urban job and enterprise zones of the county. This is an enterprise zone agreement with BASF and Cognis related to a request for a 75% approval for new real property investments for a period of 10 years. The board had previously heard this at a staff meeting presentation. There's been some reworking of some of the language in the agreement, I believe is reflected on page 4 in that agreement as it relates to environmental issues and concerns, that type of thing. And I believe there is now agreement between the board, Alloy, and BASF Cognis on that particular language. The administration is now in a position to recommend approval.
Thank you. And that's the St. Bernard.
That is, yes, correct.
Okay. I'm got a couple things and I'll open it up. One is thanks for the auditor report. I do want to acknowledge retirement of Dusty Rhodes, and I know that Commissioner Driehaus was there as well as myself, and a proclamation was presented, and Commissioner Dumas. And then Bridget Kelly, who has been sworn in as our auditor now, I think was sworn in yesterday, so I don't know if these are her reports as well, but just wanted to acknowledge that. Item number 9, I know this is your report, and we had made mention, these are the actions that you took. We made mention at one of our meetings that we'd like to get that more on a monthly basis, and after this one, I guess
Yeah,
we'll
so this
begin.
catches us up, and
Yeah.
then we'll be more on a monthly basis, correct?
Okay, great. And then item number 10, within that item of the $1.4 million plus dollars is the, I guess, architectural design of the safety complex, the new safety complex that
That's
we're
correct.
still trying to fund.
Right.
And that is in there. And I did have some questions because I said, how, I thought these things had to come to us before we started paying people. But you indicated, I guess, you have authority up to a certain amount of money, or not yourself, but the procurement person has authority.
Yeah, so when it ultimately goes out to bid for construction, that will come to the board for approval at that point in time. The design is fun. If we were to be going out for an outside design, that would come back to the board as well, but this goes through the master service agreement of Champlin Architects, our in-house architect. We did that specifically because it was a county facility, a county project, and we just wanted to expedite and save as much time as we could.
Yep, I'm for the expediting. However, I do want to understand these bids or these contracts, because I want to know how much, was there a cap on how much can be spent, or they can just?
So the amount that's shown there is $619,435. So the master services agreement with Champlin Architects authorizes the purchasing director to sign amendments and to effect purchase orders, assuming it's within the budget. If it required a greater budget, it would have to come back to the board for a supplemental appropriation.
Yeah, I just want to know what the budget is.
Okay.
I don't know what it is, because some things have been told to us, you got to bring it back individually, even though we vote on a contract. And then other things that say, oh, we can find it within the budget. We don't have to come back to you till later. So I'm just trying to get an understanding so we can have kind of one set of rules for everything. I support us moving forward, but I do want to know, what is that budget for our architect, not just for this, but just in general? Is it unlimited? Yeah. Yeah, is it unlimited or does it have a cap? So, but I did want to highlight that that is an item number 10, so that moves us forward. Now, is this already what they already showed us, or is this some new drawings?
Well, this would actually be getting into the actual design, the
Gotcha.
engineering design. So the putting together or doing the work that actually puts it to a point where we can actually put out a bid for someone to come in and start that earth movement and the construction.
Gotcha. Okay. Those were comments I had on these. Vice President Dreehouse.
Thank you. Yeah, I was going to highlight number 10 and the contract or the money that is being allocated for the architectural design and construction estimate for the safety complex. I'm glad that that is moving forward. As we continue to figure out the financial stack, we're moving forward on the design phase, and I think that's appropriate, and I applaud that. The other thing I think that I just wanted to note was the buy leave item related to BASF. And so we had the folks come in from St. Bernard, both the company and I believe it was the mayor of St. Bernard, talking about the benefits of this expansion, and I had expressed some desire to have additional language related to the environmental impact of the potential expansion that's being talked about. We've had some issues related to Winton Terrace and some of the industry that exists in St. Bernard, and I just wanted to make sure that the interest of the folks that live in Winton Terrace that have experienced some not noxious fumes so much as just odors coming from that general vicinity. Not that BASF was the instigator of that. It was never identified which industry was the cause of the odorous environment that was created in Winton Terrace, but they were generous enough to expand the language so that we can say to the residents of the other area that we did kind of nail down this environmental language so that we tried to preclude any of those situations happening in the future with the expansion that's in front of us. So appreciate the work that happened. Mark Van Almen especially worked on this one, so thank you for doing that work.
Thank you. Commissioner Dumas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I also want to reiterate about item number 10 and the fact that we're moving forward on the design component of the regional safety complex as we figure out other funding issues. But I wanted to mention items 14 through 18 and item 20 that relates to Job and Family Services for young people and families. If we can start doing what we used to do and let me know as far as independent living services, residential treatment services, foster care services, group home services, and residential treatment services, if it's local or not. I know we used to have an Excel sheet we would get, and they don't have to, if Laura's on there, she doesn't have to tell me now, but it would be great for me to just make sure we're following through on our vision of keeping the babies and families close to this area. So if we could do that, that would be great. Item 21 with Lincoln Heights and the hydrant repair, I was wondering how much that was. It says 0. How does that work?
So, thank you, Madam Commissioner. So that is an item I think that would be invoiced as the service actually happens. So I think in terms of what we were expecting on that, I think James Noyes is here. There he is. So James, I don't know if you have any assessment as to the level of work or workload that we might expect and how the billing will accrue with Lincoln Heights on that project.
As this is our 24th community that we're working with on shared services for fire hydrant service. The village of Lincoln Heights being that 24th. Now, they do not have a large amount of fire hydrants. We provide all kinds of service to various communities. Some we do pretty much all the maintenance. That contract will be as needed as service is required on each fire hydrant. So if a fire hydrant needs replaced, we go out and service that fire hydrant and then repair that, and then there's build out from there. So we don't really know. It's dependent upon, of course, the needs of the community. And we've done an assessment out there. Bruce McLean went out and surveyed all the fire hydrants, made sure that that those are ones that we can service with our current crew. So again, I don't know how much that is going to be, but it's not envisioned to be a lot. There aren't too many fire hydrants there.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. I would like to make a motion to approve and accept items 6 through 25 and by leave 1.
Second.
Commissioner Reese?
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse? Yes. Commissioner Summer Dumas?
Yes.
Okay, now we'll get back to comments. Our commissioners. I'll start with Vice President Dreehouse.
Already put all my stuff
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want me to?
Please pass.
Commissioner Dumas, we'll start with you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple things. I did attend the Cincy annual luncheon. I thought it was great, their vision and where they want to go, extremely aggressive as I listened as far as economic development and the different projects that they are wanting to start and continue. But I just want to make sure that politically all the entities are in line, in alignment of where they want to go, where we want to go, and our visions mesh. It looks like it does. I don't know if we're going to go as quickly as they want us to go, but I thought it was a great luncheon and to see their vision. I had a webinar with the CCAO Public Safety Committee meeting, and they talked more about jails and increase money for jails and things like that. But hopefully we'll look at other areas other than just the building of jails. I've said that before, like a broken record. I took a tour of a building in Bond Hill just to take a tour and see different options. And I also attended the auditor's last day here, and I just want to wish him well. And we've worked closely before, and I appreciate his support. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Dreehouse.
Thank you. Yeah, just a couple things. One was we signed a proclamation for women in STEM at the University of Cincinnati, and I presented that proclamation on behalf of the commission, celebrating the women in STEM at UC. And we had just on the heels of celebrating the women in STEM in Hamilton County, where we did that at one of our last meetings. So we've been celebrating Women's History Month. I'm glad of it. This was an extension of that, and thanks to Paula Lampley for the invitation to do that. And then also just a reminder, the Commission on Women and Girls has been meeting on a monthly basis for many months now, coming up with recommendations for the commission. And so that meeting is due to take place April 18th at 6 o'clock at the Board of Elections. So looking forward to that. The Commission on Women and Girls is preparing for that and looking forward to making those recommendations to the commission. And we'll make sure the members of the board get those recommendations well in advance. Mary Mounty, as you know, the program coordinator, is working on all things. And one other note that while I'm thinking about it, the pay equity signing day is next week. You both have received information about that. And I think we have over 25 businesses, nonprofits, government entities that are once again signing the pay equity commitment, all new, in addition to what we had last year. So we're looking forward to that and celebrating those that are paying attention to pay equity, Hamilton County being one of them. We were the first signer in the first year of pay equity. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. In terms of, I want to let people know that the 513 relief bus is still out, and they were in College Hill and the villages of Row Hill this week. People can go to 513relief.org to see where the bus will be going next, but it's been all over the county, so we really appreciate that. Second, did attend the Neighborhood Summit at Xavier University at the Centaur Center. It was packed. A lot of neighborhood community groups. They did an awesome job as always. And just glad to see it continuously going. I remember when I was at City Council many, many moons ago, it was just a concept and we did the first one. I was glad to keep seeing these things, keep moving and grooving and connecting people. So I thought that was great. Also was at the 17th annual Mayor's Youth Employment Day. I got a chance, I never miss it. I've never missed it. And just to see young people connecting with positive things. I always say that we must get our job program, our positive youth activities to our youth before the street program gets to them. And so I just was happy to see so many young people getting jobs and mentorships and opportunities there. And wanted to highlight that. Also had a meeting, there was a meeting with regarding the Cincinnati Music Festival, Black Tech Week, as well as the Black Music Walk of Fame and all the activities that happened during that big music festival weekend. And was pleased to be invited to that meeting to find out what's going on for that big economic weekend. So was happy to hear what they have, some of the ideas that they have going. And then lastly, not lastly, but before I go to the last thing, I do want to thank Veda Stevens in my office. As I mentioned earlier, he's a graduate of Princeton High School. And for him to be able to work on the event today and pull both teams from Princeton and Purcell Marion together, work with the superintendents, work with the principals, the coaches, and the staff. I just want to thank him for that work. It was really great today, and I want to highlight that, and that's what it's all about, being able to come from our schools right here in Hamilton County and be able to do something to give back to the next generation, I think is amazing. So I want to thank him for that. And then lastly, I was at the Visit Cincy annual meeting, and I was a speaker of greetings as the president of the board. I do want to highlight, I think, some things that I think are critical as we go to this next phase. I want to be real clear, at least for myself. I can't speak for others. I don't want people out there saying I voted on something or something's a done deal. That's what I ran against. When I ran because people felt like everything's a done deal and they don't have any say, that a lot of stuff happens behind the curtains, behind the back rooms, and then we just come out here for show. And I said I was going to come here and it might not be popular, but I'm going to shake it up. I'm going to open up this process, and we're going to have other people have an opportunity with new ideas to come to the table. Now, I didn't get elected with 212,363 votes to just be down here window dressing. And I want to bring that, and it's not, any of the board members did not do this, but when I got up there, it was all this, it's a done deal. I need to know from the administrator, because I'm not in those meetings. I hope that that's not the message that's been given out, that the county is already in to do this deal. Because I haven't voted on this deal for convention center expansion that will only be 12,000 square feet more than what we got now for $200 million. That's a lot of sprucing up for not a new building. And have outdoor space when just a couple weeks ago, we had hail in March. The other day, we were in coats. So outdoor space alone will not get us more conventions. And the thing that bothers me is someone who has expertise in this area. We all have different expertise. This is my expertise. And to want me to just run along with something that I know that I'm an expert in, I'm the only one around who actually did a convention center expansion. Most of the people that were around, they're gone. They're no longer in office. I'm the only one around who actually been a deputy director of tourism who had to sell. So I know what the people want because I had to sell to them. I'm the only one around that brought these huge conventions at the roughest times that Cincinnati had with an occupancy rate that was almost down to 1%. So to come in and just walk past that experience that the public, and maybe I'm in the minority, but not with the public, and then to tear down an 800-room hotel, telling the public we're going to get an 800-room hotel, but then we don't have anything guaranteed with an 800-room hotel. And even when you get an 800-room hotel, it's just a wash. You're not going to get bigger conventions because you lost 800, and now you're going to get 800. And then to go and say we're going to raise the hotel rates countywide, and then tell me, because I was sitting there, they told me that Sharonville is in. They said the mayor is on the CFA and he is in. And then for me to have the Sharonville mayor not only email me, but come to me and say, what is this? It's a messaging problem. And I have just been really flabbergasted since I've been elected at so much of the disrespect of the county. We fund stuff and nobody take the money and run off. We're out front on something, but we're not out front. People get up and talk on our behalf, and I haven't voted on it. How can you get up and say the county is in? And I've never had a vote. There's a people would tell me, my grandmother would say, you're out of order. You're out of line. And then we haven't even paid for this yet. Hotel, almost $500 million, and you still don't have a solid plan. I don't have no date of when this hotel is going to actually happen. Now, when we had the World Cup, they said 2026. Now there's no World Cup. They said, we can't guarantee when it's going to happen. So we have no guarantee. We have no hotel with 800 rooms. We're over here talking about a convention center expansion that's mostly outdoor, 12,000 square feet more, that will not get us a bigger convention center. Sharonville has more convention center space expansion than we do. They're over 20,000 square feet. And when you're selling a convention, it's all about the square footage. But of course, you wouldn't ask me the question. You get angry if I ask any questions. It really flabbergasts me. And then to get up and say, you haven't paid for this, but say y'all in, and then jump in and say, now we want you to go with an arena. And guess what? You're going to pay for it. I don't want anybody talking. I don't want no ventriloquists. Tell you that right now. I do not want a ventriloquist. They're a ventriloquist. That would make me the dummy, and I'm not no one's dummy. So I want to clear up. I don't know what it is, and I hope it's not, I know we got 3 women here. Do not run out speaking, at least not for me, as a commissioner, and say it's a done deal. Do not speak for me and tell me we don't need to be asking questions about how we're going to finance it. There's nothing bold with giving me an idea and telling me to pay for it. And I want to remind the public that we also have a stadium, 2 stadiums that we own. And one stadium, the time is up. The 20-year lease is coming to an end. And we got a preliminary report. Bare bones is $500 million, $500 million for bare bones. So who's paying for all these ideas? And then I also want to say that as commissioners, some of us got some ideas based on what we heard from the public. And we just wash those ideas out. We need an amateur sports facility. Even Trotwood is doing one. We got $93 billion we're leaving on the table. $93 billion. These parents are going to tournaments every weekend, not just some weekends. Dancing, cheerleading, volleyball, basketball, indoor soccer, outdoor soccer. Indiana has one. So I just wanted to articulate that. And I know we got an email from the mayor of Sharonville. And his email said something different than what I had been being told. He had a lot of questions. So I just would hope, at least with me, you get up, don't go and say, this is already done. And I turned on the radio station and heard it on the radio when they said, this is already done. The convention district is done. The plan is ready to go, and it's a done deal. Now we're going to move on to another idea. Not for me. Somebody else, maybe, I don't know what's been going on, but not for me. And I would have said to the administrator, you're in the meetings behind the closed doors. You're the one get to meet with the hotel. We ain't never met with the hotel. How could we be on board and we ain't never met with the people? I hope that the message, and I don't think this is the case, because I've talked to you about it, but you need to, since you're in the meeting, send the message back. Do not run out saying that it's already done and we haven't even voted on it. We haven't been presented anything to vote on. I think it's disrespectful to us. It's very disrespectful. And I appreciate big ideas because I'm one that has a lot of them as well. But sometimes it seems like we got more questions on our ideas than we give to the people that outside bringing us ideas. When it comes to us, we got a lot of questions for each other, but when we have other people in front of us, we just say it's a wonderful thing. And everything has a cost. And we got limited dollars. And we always find a way. We got this fund, and now all these funds start jumping up. But then when we want to give the taxpayer a 30% tax break, we say we can't do it because we're going to go bankrupt. Well, how are we going bankrupt when we give the taxpayers a break, but all of a sudden we're super rich when other people come with all these development deals for downtown? And I'm going to be honest, I'm from Cincinnati, but we can't put everything downtown. And the sports facility, we need to be looking out in these other areas and make sure that they have what they need and bring some new stuff out to their areas in the suburb areas. So I wanted to highlight that because there's been a lot about it. It's been a big PR campaign. I wasn't going to say anything, but when I heard on the radio, I said, well, they said it over here, I let it go. They said it over there, I let it go. They told me that Sharonville was on board, I let that go. But then I heard on the radio, I said, I got to put a stop to it. I have not voted on anything. And I don't remember this being completed yet. And I've been very clear about my position. I'm interested in the hotel, but I'm just saying we still haven't voted on anything. And I just wanted to bring that up because I'm just hearing it too much. And I want to clarify, at least from my position. So that's what I wanted to add today. Like I said, I was going to let it go, but it just keeps festering. And I want to make sure that I'm clear on my position. So that's all I have. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
I have.
Oh, you have something?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Madam Chair, if I could just make
Commissioner
an announcement about the small event grants. Applications are on our website, hamilton-co.org. The original deadline said March the 21st, but the deadline to apply is March the 31st. So if you are a city, a village, or a township, and you have some community activities that are going on outside of Cincinnati, please apply, and hopefully the maximum you can apply for is $25,000. So hopefully you'll get an application in if we can help you in any way. That's all I had. Thanks.
Mr. Dumas, is it also on our Facebook page too? I thought
Yes, it
was
is.
also- Okay, great. Okay, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Commissioner Reese?
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse? Commissioner Summer Dumas?
Yes.